What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Champion Living Podcast, the only podcast crossing the lines between the sport of rodeo and fitness. Today's episode, we have the one and only Heidi Foy on, the owner of Bullfrog Creative. If you've never heard this, it is and has been a great platform for youth rodeo athletes, but she is evolving the game and has created a platform for collegiate rodeo athletes and coaches to be able to find each other and potentially work out scholarships, things like that. So really cool opportunities for, the next generation of rodeo coming up. This episode is brought to you by Hui Brands. We're always rocking Hui. They make our OPA shirts. I just put in the order for our bull riding ones. I'm fired up. But you guys can check out Hui, getyourhui.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving. All one word, going to save you 10% on all your Hui gear. No worries at all. You guys had some snow over there last night, huh?
I mean, not a whole lot, but you would think that we got 5 feet because apparently everyone has forgotten.
Where are you?
Where
all the driving, snow. Where do you live again?
Right in Casper.
What the? That's everyone should know what they're doing there.
Yes, but listen, I don't think we've even had snow since Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we have.
Really?
Oh, we have.
And even then, it was like a skiff. I mean, it was like a couple inches. It has been the most bizarre winter.
It has. And I hope you're getting ready for these storms that are about to hit because it's about to get wild over here. They're talking about the Sierras are supposed to get 9 feet of snow.
Whoa.
9 feet. It's unreal.
Last year, I think everybody got hammered last year, but everybody, like we would get, and I feel like it lined up with Monday also. Yay, Monday. We would get like multiple feet on Monday. We would get dug out by Wednesday. And then everyone's like, oh, whew, okay, we survived. And then it happened again. Like we had like 2 months of that where it just was, we just got hit just one after the other. And then everybody was talking about, it's going to be we're going to have a winter just like that this year. And so we all kind of came into winter with this mindset of like snowmageddon, and then we've had nothing.
Yeah. That's always how it goes. Get ready, nothing happens.
But everybody's like, okay,
it's going to be sunny, blizzard.
March, April, and May.
Oh yeah, that's a good. Yep.
Is now our new winter.
Yeah, I honestly do feel like the world's changing like that a little bit. Everything seems to be getting a little bit delayed, and I've even noticed it like hunting and stuff. The rut of the elk has been later than it usually is, and I wonder if that is because I don't know what's happening. I am not a weather guy or a scientist by any means, so this is all speculation.
They're all speculation too. Let's not pretend like they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, let's be real.
Yeah, the only job that you can be like right 50% of the time.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And be the best one out there. Hey, except for bull riders, they have those odds.
I was going to say
30%.
My goat tying was probably right around those odds too.
Oh, that's funny. Hey, let's get you introduced. Let's have our listeners get to know you for a second. We've known you for a couple of years now. Me and Logan had the opportunity 2 years ago to be on your NFR Hangover show. This year I got to go swing by and talk with you guys on that show, and it was a blast. We always love doing that. And what you're doing for not just rodeo as a whole, but really this next generation of rodeo is cool, what you have lined up with Bullfrog Creative. So go ahead and why don't you give us a little rundown of what Bullfrog Creative is and, what your mission and goal is with it.
Yeah, I would love to. First of all, thank you guys so much for having me on. I apologize. Again, we kind of talked about that. Like everybody forgets what snow is like. So apparently I did too. I might be in that bracket. Listen, so Bullfrog Creatives kind of started, I don't want to say on a whim because it was something that I always wanted to do, but the vision and the mission and kind of narrowing it down really didn't happen until 2020. So when everything got shut down and I was home with my kids, I started getting coaches reaching out to me about like, just seeing stuff on Facebook, how I want to do an infomercial about my rodeo program. And there were lots of questions about the college finals getting canceled. And so I just started having conversations with people, and I started doing it live on Facebook because I think I wasn't the only one that had these questions. And it turned into an opportunity to kind of be a conduit between student athletes and college rodeo coaches, because they weren't able to go to rodeos. Students weren't entering rodeos. Coaches weren't able to go to rodeos to watch these students. And I just got to thinking, like, at least this way we can get the word out about rodeo programs. Students can still have kind of an avenue to get that information. And it really exploded from there after having 3 interviews a week for 3 months. And then I dropped down to 1 a week because then it was summer and everything got crazy. But I just started having more conversations with students, like, man, if there was something like this, then this would be so helpful. And having conversations with coaches, man, if you could do something like this and have these options, then it would be helpful for us. And so I think after a long time of sitting on it and kind of churning, almost having other people talk to me about it and other people kind of give me their opinions, I finally just decided to pull the trigger and create, I heard you kind of talking about it before I came in. It's almost a social media platform strictly dedicated to college rodeo, and not just the recruitment process, but really building relationships with coaches, building relationships with kind of, I don't want to call you guys providers, but other entities that can help you inside and outside the arena, and making those connections. So it's just kind of a space that if you are the least bit interested in college rodeo, at minimum, you can get in and see kind of some of the free resources, which is basically the archive of all of our interviews, all of our alumni interviews. Logan, I think you were one of our alumni interviews early on. Also, don't go back and watch it. It will totally burst your bubbles. It's not fun. But just kind of a tool and a resource that students and parents, and I would say also coaches, we're working on some special coaches stuff, but man, the conversations that I'm still having about it are really, I don't know, they're really exciting. The support that I'm getting and the parents that are reaching out and the coaches that are reaching out, it's just only going to grow from here.
That's super cool. And I'm just sitting here listening to this and thinking back to when I was getting ready to do college rodeo and how much information I had to seek out by myself. And my mom and dad had to help me with, looking up all these programs and getting in touch with the coaches. And it's not easy. Just like, man, anything in rodeo is honestly kind of hard to get into if you're not born into it or have really, really close friends, right? So this gives people and parents especially, but a great opportunity to kind of get leveled up to that same page and get in the know-all and know everything that's going on and how it all works. And to have it all in one place is just so convenient. And, you've been talking about this for a couple of years, launching this and really, really diving into it now. And this last year being super serious about it. So we've had conversations quite a bit about it. It's so exciting to me to think about one place parents, athletes, and coaches can all go and see what everyone has to offer and have the opportunity to get in front of more eyes. Because the truth is, college rodeo coaches don't have recruiting plans like college football coaches or basketball or baseball. They don't have people going out to rodeos to look at people. They are hardly getting paid themselves to go to the rodeos for their teams. So, all of this it's tough. And so unless you're one of those top, 10 in the nation where they see you at the high school finals or something like that, it's easy to get looked over. So to have something like this where you can get yourself out there is huge, and especially at that age. And I'm thinking even further now, like college rodeo athletes have been the only rodeo athletes that have ever been able to have sponsorship throughout their college career. This in turn could, help get them in front of more people and help build that part of their business, if you will. So that's really exciting. So how does it work? Like how do people, kids, parents become members, log in? Like,
I set it up on a subscription. So there's tiered subscriptions. And I'll be frank with you guys, the goal is not for me to make a lot of money on this. I have tried to keep the access very affordable because I understand, just like you said, there's a handful of these coaches that getting paid a whole lot to be the coach, let alone to travel these rodeos. And so there's a subscription on the college side and there's a subscription on the student side. The very minimum that gets you in kind of the parent community and the searchable directory is there's two options. You can go $9.99 a month or $100 for the year. And that gets you a profile. It gets you access to the directory, gets you access to kind of the discussion board for parents. And then also we'll be launching this week, actually launching a new space called Parent Speak, where we'll talk to parents that have been through or are currently going through the recruitment process. So we've kept that super affordable, $100 for the year. The next section where I feel like all the meat and potatoes is the college interviews, the alumni interviews, also the outside the arena section, which is we'll have you guys Champion Living Fitness in that section quarterly. All of kind of the meat and potatoes of the program is going to be in the VIP recruitment section, and that is $29.99 a month or $330 for the year. So I'm trying to keep it. I have some expenses to cover, like on the business side of it, but I'm also trying to keep it affordable enough that even if you're a freshman or sophomore or junior, maybe you come in and get a sneak peek as a freshman, but you could affordably cover your costs for a 3-year period or a 2-year period and still get enough value from the program that $600 is worth it. Because you're going to get yourself in front of, not only are you going to get yourself in front of live interviews like this, where we talk about outside the arena tips and tricks to set yourself above, but you're going to come in and be able to build relationships over a multiple year period where those coaches aren't going to have an option but to remember you.
That's
so super affordable, but also, I think it's worth it. One of the things that you talked about, and I love talking about this program because inevitably every person does what you just did. Man, how did I get recruited?
Yeah.
That could have been a lot smoother. I mean, and I think about it too. I knew somebody that knew somebody, and that's how I got recruited. And it worked. It worked for me. But learning about some of those other programs kind of gets you thinking like, man, I wonder if I would have known about that program, if that would have been a good fit. And I think that just so long as you can get in there and get the knowledge that you need to make a good decision, not just where you're going to rodeo well and how you're going to compete in the arena, but let's be frank, not a lot of high school kids are really thinking about what's going to happen, like that life after rodeo. But if we can start to, because I was going to rodeo forever also. I just knew it. Yeah. So why did I need to think about that? But, if we can start kind of planting those seeds for these are the relationships you can build, and not just to be successful in college, but these relationships right now that like you three faces are all from the rodeo world. And so let's talk about how you can build those relationships to impact you after you get out of the college rodeo scene.
It's huge.
And there's so many more opportunities. Sorry, I could go on forever.
No,
there's so many more opportunities to tie into what you do in college that if we can draw those lines and just kind of give them a little bit of an idea, then they can take off and then they can make it happen for themselves.
Well, I think it widens their circle, right? When I think about, most like my time as a college rodeo coach in recruiting, most students they're looking at 3 schools, maybe 4, maybe that's doing it. And they have the one where all their friends go to. There's the one that they've wanted to go to since they were, young. And there might be 1 or 2 other ones. And that's pretty much their pool. They're going to go visit those 3, chances are. And then they're probably just going to go wherever they get the most money. Whoever gives them the most, or wherever their best friend goes, that's where they're going to go. But this really gives them an affordable way to look at at one point in time, there was 126 college rodeo programs across the United States. I don't know what the numbers are today. There's a lot more than those 3 or 4 options. And it gives them those, they can see more, at least get an idea on if they still only want to go visit 4 or 5, great. But maybe it's a 4 or 5 that is not necessarily inside their, their circle.
Yeah.
I would say the scariest thing, listen, you said something that I also said. People would ask, where are you going to go? Wherever I get money. Wherever I get money. wherever I get money. And from this standpoint now, that is the scariest thing to hear. Because just because they can give you money doesn't mean that you're going to like the community, doesn't mean that you're going to get along with the coach, doesn't mean that you're going to fit in on the already established team. Like, there's just things to think about that we didn't think about, for sure. I didn't think about. And so I think if we can just kind of, I don't know, give them a little bit more insight before they start making those decisions. Also, I will add, there's a scholarship corner in the VIP recruitment subscription that would blow your mind. And not just industry scholarships, because I just stumbled upon a podcast that highlights a scholarship every day. There is more money on the table than you can even imagine. And so the idea of I'm going to go where the money is doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah. And it's hard to, I'm like putting myself in my 18-year-old person's like mind. And the last thing I was thinking about was school during that time, right? I was going to college, but it was to rodeo and to be around my buddies and to be surrounded by those guys so I could get better at riding bucking horses. My goal was never to get a degree because I wanted to use it, or I needed, or thinking about like, maybe you won't rodeo forever and having a degree would be really nice. I'm thinking about even recently, I took my CSCS. If I never would have gotten my degree through college rodeo, thank God I did, I never would have even had the opportunity to take that test because you have to have a bachelor's. So I'm sitting here, I don't even want to say how long down the road, 12 years, 10 years down the road from college. And all of a sudden, I'm really thankful that I had that because it changed my whole career now. It changes what I'm able to do with everything in my career. So we don't think about that when we're 18 or 19 or 20. We're thinking about what's right there in front of us and the fun, shiny things. And usually that's, if you're a dude, it's rodeo and girls. So, you've got to think a little bit ahead of the game here. And I'm having flashbacks to all these schools I went to and all these guys that were my age then and showed up and said, I know it doesn't feel like it, but you're going to be my age one day and you're going to wish you had done A, B, and C. And now we're those guys. But it really does matter. It matters so much, your future. You won't rodeo forever. And if you do, cool. At least you still have that thing behind you and that one thing, other thing you accomplished, you can add to the list. But use college rodeo for what it is, college and rodeo. Go to school, go to class, prepare yourself. Like figure out life. That's your time to figure out how to be an adult and figure out how to be a winner or how to be a loser. And it's wild because I know a lot of people that I met in college, and I could have told you right then and there if they were going to be successful after or not. And that it stands true. All those people that were go-getters and figuring stuff out, may not figure it out right every time, but you're learning lessons in college, and that's the important part. And you're learning how to get the job done, even though you don't want to, because there's a lot of that in life, guys. There's a lot of things that we have to do every day that we don't want to do. That's adulthood. So all y'all that want to grow up, slow down. Promise.
Yeah, hashtag adulting. There's a lot they don't tell you. I'm just
there
saying.
is. There's
I
a
mean,
lot they don't
so
tell you.
It's such. Well, go ahead, Heidi. I'm sorry. I
was just going to say the industry, with the changes in the industry, the Cowboy Channel has brought a lot of job opportunities that really haven't been there for rodeo athletes. And I think if you start to look at like broadcast journalism is kind of low-hanging fruit. So I'm going to go that way. If you start looking at the opportunities for somebody that has rodeo experience and rodeo knowledge and has a degree in broadcast journalism, then you can really start to see, like, there just wasn't that opportunity before. Like, I rodeo and I would love to stay in that industry, but I don't really know what there is available for me. It's super clear. And I think if you position yourself right, rodeo and college, and even if your major is, I mean, I hate to say it, booze and broads, like that was the old traditional way to say it. There's still going to be ways to position yourself, to build the relationships, to make the connections for your future afterwards. And I think that because the industry has opened up so much, there's even more options. I think for me, I knew a whole lot about athletic training, not for good reasons, but there were some options for rodeo and athletic training. And that was my original intent when I started college. And so if you look around the industry now, there's more options associated with the arena and the knowledge that you bring just from being a competitor and taking that one step farther. I mean, you could still rodeo and do broadcast journalism. You could rodeo and do, some production on the side. Like there's just, I think if you're creative about it, you can still have your plan to rodeo forever and use your time in college to build your network and who's going to sit at your table later. And I think it's more of a conversation now than it was like when I think I'm older than all of you, but it's more of a conversation now than it was when we were doing it. Like, I would say the same, Doug. I was just getting by. Like, college is going to pay for, or rodeo is going to pay for my college. And I don't know what happens after that.
Yeah. That was it. That was all I had in mind. And then, life always has other plans usually. So, I was glad I went. But even if you're someone that's not, you're not wanting to go to a 4-year college, there are so many opportunities with junior colleges, community colleges to rodeo, to get, like certifications, like what do they call, like trade school certifications, like welding or whatever you want to do. There's tons of opportunity out there, and the smaller colleges usually have more to give.
That's true. That's 100%
when it comes to rodeo.
I did ask this question. There was a junior college, Garden City was on in the weekly spotlight for College Rodeo 101. And I asked him, like, what is your opinion of the difference between a D1 or a 4-year versus a 2-year? And that's exactly what he said. Typically, a junior college will have a little bit more support from the administration. Not always true, but I would say across the board, it's typically true. So they'll get a little bit more scholarship money. Also, maybe they are part of the athletic department and they don't have to raise the money on their own. And so there's just a little bit more money. Also, you want to think about not every rodeo program is created equal. So not every program is going to be able to offer you gas money. They're not always going to be able to pay for your hotel. They're not always going to be able to pay to give you food money. So there's a lot of questions that go into it, not just how much money can you give me? Because what scholarship money they give you, they may not give you any travel money.
Entry fee money,
or entry fee money. So you've got to weigh it out. And I mean, we're not even talking about what it costs to like sleep somewhere and eat somewhere. So they might be able to give you a lot of scholarship money, but they don't give you any money anywhere else. Whereas one college could give you less scholarship money, but they're going to give you maybe some room, a little bit of room and board, or they're going to pay your gas and your hotel and your entry fees. There's a lot of questions that go into like, how much money are you going to give me?
Well, a big one is the cost of tuition. I mean, this school over here is going to give you $20,000 a year to go to school for them. And this school over here is going to give you $800 a year to go to school for them. And it's like, well, I'm automatically going to choose the school that gives me $20,000. Well, that's great. You're going to need it because their tuition annually is $53,000. So you're still going to go in debt $30,000 a year over the course of 4 years. That school over there, it was $1,600 a semester. So they're or a year. So you're only going to be in it. So looking at things like that, but we just are at 17, 18, our egos just get in the way. We want to tell all our buddies we're on a full ride rodeo scholarship, or we're on we're getting all this money to go rodeo. And when I was coaching, it never failed. I'd had students that would tell their hometown newspaper they were getting a full ride. I didn't do full rides. That wasn't a thing. And then I'd have kids on the rodeo team. Well, why is he getting a full ride? We just want to tell people that we're talented enough to receive money to rodeo. And the fact of the matter is, like you guys are saying, there's so many other variables that play a role in where you go to school, or should.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, doesn't mean anything, for your career. Like, you're getting that scholarship does not mean you're going to be a world champ. There's so many guys I know at the NFR now that sucked in college. Like,
or weren't even rodeoing in college.
Yeah, or weren't even getting on. Like, it's crazy. Go ahead, Heidi.
Well,
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's fine.
Oh.
I was just going to say, I like to, I didn't really do anything with rodeo after college because my good horse died. And so I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm done. And so I'm in my professional career. In fact, I was speaking at Rotary, like professional career. I'm working at as an executive director, and I'm supposed to get up and do this like speech at Rotary and tell them something they don't know about me. And so nobody knows about me in this community, even though I qualified to the CNFR twice in Casper. Nobody in the professional community knows that part of my life. And so, I mean, it didn't really help me after college to go to school on a rodeo scholarship. But you are dang sure right, Logan. I was pretty proud of that full ride scholarship. And, you know, I tell everybody now and they don't believe me. So I have to have pictures, but it's just not, it doesn't. And I do. Listen, it's like carrying pictures of your kids. I did too step off a moving horse. I can't tell you it was the smartest decision I've ever made, but I did do it. So just, I think if you have a little bit more, I always say that that's the one thing that you learn as you grow older is having a little bit of like insight into what happens later. And whether it's through your choices or your words or your actions. I mean, Logan, you're a parent, like modeling the behavior you want to see in your children. We are talking about that a lot. And I think that insight is one of those things that you learn while you're in school. But if we can give them a little bit and show them a little bit on this platform, then maybe they can make some more informed decisions anyways.
Yeah. Heidi, we've talked a lot about like some of the red flags to watch out for and maybe some of the considerations that people don't think about when they're looking at choosing a college. But like, what are some things that people should look for in a college rodeo program, and how does your platform help them navigate those turbulent waters, so to speak?
Well, I think the first thing, I think that's always the very first question. But the question that I always ask is more about what you're looking for. So questions that they don't know how to answer would be like, what type of structure are you looking for? Do you want a hands-on coach, or do you want somebody that's kind of checked out? Do you want someone super involved? Do you want organized practices, or do you want to just kind of practice at will? And most high school kids don't really know how to answer that question because they're coming from a world where their coach has been their parents or maybe one or two other dads. And so when they just haven't thought about that because they've not been in that situation before. So I try to ask questions like, this is going to get kind of personality test-y, but it really can speak to what structure they'll fit well in. And so are you an organized person? Do you like to write lists? Do you have a planner? If they're kind of a fly by the seat of their pants type of person, a structured program may not fit for them. Or I know I'm a big proponent of kids need structure and kids like structure early on. But if they've come from a super structured family and they don't like that, then they might want to change for their first couple of years in college. And then maybe they'll come back to that. But it's really just more about asking kind of some personal questions back to the student and even back to the parents, which is a whole nother topic. Like we're kind of getting to that age too now where the parents need to step back and the students need to step up. And so depending on what age the students are, I have that very frank conversation with parents. And it's not always easy, because I think as a parent myself, I'm not ready. My 17-year-old is not quite ready to be making those decisions. And I know that she needs to. And so being able to be, gentle yet firm with parents that might not be ready to hear that. And also, telling students, okay, it's time to put your big girl panties on, and you are the one that needs to be reaching out to these coaches, not your mom and dad. So if I can reach parents as their students are freshmen, then I can kind of start to I don't want to say groom, but start to build that instill that in them at an early, as their parent is, or as the student is younger. But then they can also start having those conversations on the other side. Like, okay, I can help you as a freshman kind of navigate these waters, and maybe even as a sophomore. And I'm going to push you out front as a junior, and I am hands off as a senior. That's my role as a parent. And so what we're seeing now, because the community is so new, Paul, is that I'm getting a ton of communication from parents of seniors and parents of juniors. And we're in training mode. Like we're in training mode to tell these parents, like, this is what you should be doing. And I would really like to talk to your student from now moving forward. And I would really like to have these conversations with your student so that I can help to prepare them to have the conversations with the coaches, because that was the number one thing that I heard from coaches is sorry, is I don't want to hear from the parents. I want to hear from the students.
That was the number one thing for me when I was coaching, was when I would get an email from a parent, it was automatic red flag, right? As opposed to the other option would be I would get an email from a student and there was absolutely no punctuation. It was like, you are like, you're like, what's your program? Like, and that also not interested. But then every once in a while, you'd get that one that is like, dear Coach Corbett, my name is so-and-so. These are the events I do. I've been high school rodeoing here. Here's 3 videos. I really look forward to hearing back from you. And I was like, okay, somebody knows how to write an email. I'm calling that guy. If he left a number, I'm going to call him today and say, hey, or that girl, and say, hey, like, let's move forward. And just the initiative that it takes as even a junior or senior to be able to send those letters, because kids still think that coaches should be calling them. They think I'm good enough. I should be hearing from coaches. I shouldn't have to reach out to them. That is the wrong attitude to have. And you need to take charge.
And where did that start? Where did we get that? Because I thought that too. I'm going to get recruited. No. Listen, recruiting
because there's no
is
options.
about
Like
you
there's no
putting the work
information.
Yeah.
Yep. There's
been no one to say that,
Yeah. There's 1,500 kids at the high school finals and 126 programs, some of which don't have coaches. They just had advisors. A lot of the coaches don't go to the high school finals. And so if there's a couple hundred coaches there, 1,500 students at the high school finals, how are those coaches supposed to cover everybody? They're not going to. If you want to go to school,
let's talk about the kids that don't make it to the high school finals,
which are thousands more.
Yeah. I tied for 4th place. Like, talk about barely making it in the high school finals. I did not peak in high school. I peaked in college, and I never would have been found. And I think that we're not only, I'm going to get on a pedestal. We are losing potential amazing college rodeo athletes because they didn't peak in high school, and they are on the brink of making that choice to not college rodeo because they didn't do well in high school and nobody has reached out to them. Listen, you have got to keep having those conversations because, not everybody's going to win the high school finals, win the college finals, win the NFR, because those I don't even like to use this language because I feel like it degrades them, but those tier 2 or tier 3 athletes in high school can be amazing national champions in college. And beyond. I'm telling you, it's like finding the right basketball coach. If you can fit into the right program in college, you will see talent oozed out that you have never experienced before. And it's just about putting the right people at your table and surrounding yourself with the right people in college. And
absolutely,
to lose those students, it kind of breaks my heart because I've seen people in high school where I'm like, they just need the right person to speak excellence into them and they will take off. And then all of a sudden I see them not carrying on and not moving forward because they didn't do good in high school. And it's kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And I think
it's a bummer.
I think that this program is really going to, I just feel like this program is really going to work some magic in those students' lives and help
That's going to
coaches
change the whole
define
game.
them. Yeah.
Exactly.
And
It's making like that's impossible for a coach to look at that many kids or to even have the opportunity to look at half of them. So to have this available to the coaches, students, parents is huge. How can people sign up for this? Where do they go? How do they get involved?
So you have a couple of options. You can always find Bullfrog Creatives on Instagram or Facebook, and just reach out and, kind of click through all the things. Bullfrogcreatives.com has pricing and kind of a little bit more about what's available at each tier. I do offer one-on-one consulting, and I would say I don't anticipate that being as widely used unless you're a senior right now and you haven't started. Then we can do kind of an accelerated program about what to do and what to do. And that'll be, obviously signing starts next week. Your letters of intent are going out next week. So if you're a senior right now and you're kind of lost in the chaos, then we can do some one-on-one consulting. But really, all of the benefit is in that middle tier, the VIP recruitment. So Doug, I know that, I don't know if you've gotten your affiliate links set up, but I know that Doug Champion has Champion Living Fitness is an affiliate of ours. And so they offer some links too. Maybe we can just post those.
They'll be in the show
Bullfrog
notes.
Creatives, bullfrogcreatives.com. You can find out all the information that is kind of about the program.
Awesome.
And obviously I can answer tons of questions and talk about it for hours at a time. But I just think that, it's just a really valuable resource.
It is. And it's the time. It's like the perfect time for something like this to come along. Just to wrap this up, we talk about this in our realm all the time. Like we're having to change the culture a little bit of rodeo when it comes to fitness and nutrition. It's the same thing. You're having to change the culture of what it looks like, what the recruitment process looks like as a whole, throughout college rodeo and from high school and on. So we're thankful for you and for what you're doing for the sport, because like you said, all those people in your corner and, at your table, they matter. Yeah. And so I love that our table is filled with other people that are like-minded, that are, trying to help the sport and trying to get as many people in. Thanks again so much, Heidi. We really appreciate it. We got to thank our sponsors really quickly. Yeah, it's been awesome. You guys, check her out. Check out the link in the show notes. Go check out the platform, especially if you're a high school or even college rodeo athlete. Go check it out. Parents especially, y'all need this. But we have got to thank Beastmaster Rodeo. Been with us since the beginning. Use our discount code ChampionLiving24, all one word. Going to save you 10% at BeastmasterRodeo.com. And Colorado Craft Beef. Use our discount code ChampionLiving, all one word. Again, not case sensitive on your next Colorado Craft Beef order. Again, www.coloradocraftbeef.com. Check them out. Guys, until next time, we'll catch you later.